Oh, that was a pretty abrupt cut there. Hello, welcome to the future. We are live today on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Is that right, Erica? Are we live on Twitch today?
Yes, indeed.
And are you twitching right now, guys?
I'm twitching.
You're twitching. Okay, on today's episode, what the heck are we going to be talking about? We're going to be critiquing information graphics. I don't even know what that is. Luckily, though, we have someone who does. Somebody who took information graphic design or something like that at Art Center. And who else might that be? That would be none other than our very special Molly Drill. She's prepared a deck for you guys. And, you know, this is like her running the show. I'm excited. And I'm here to help her. So I told Molly before the show, just relax. Everything's going to be good. I'm going to be super chill today. And I'm going to be your safety net. And I'm a good wingman. I really am.
Yeah,
I'll
you
be here
are.
to support you, okay? So let's say hello to the Dream Team. How you guys doing on this beautiful Friday?
Hi, Chris. I'm doing great.
Me too.
We have a new member
Wait,
here.
who is this new guy? That doesn't look like Aaron.
New member on
Aaron
our
got
team.
a lot whiter, and he looks different today. Who's that? That is none other than John Beatty. He's a graphic designer and also a comic book artist. He's a professional comic book artist. I believe he's an amazing inker if you guys have ever seen his work. The reason why he's in the studio today is because he's at the Stanley Comic Con.
Cool.
Just happened to be in the neighborhood, if you will. Wanted to stop by. Now look, John's used to being a superstar, which he is. But on the show, he's feeling a little bit nervous, so we're going to go easy on him as well. And I think once he gets warmed up, he's going to get a little wacky. So let's see what happens on the show. Okay, so we have, you know, no matter what, though. What are you guys talking about? Is there a problem?
I'm just checking that we're live on YouTube.
Are we live, guys? I think we're live. If not, I'll do that all over again from the beginning.
Are we live on YouTube?
Oh. Well, while we do
Yes,
that, I'll
we
play some
are.
music. Are we live?
Okay. It's just not up on my feed.
We're good.
We're
Cool.
good.
We're good.
Okay, guys.
We're good.
All right, you guys know what time it is. It's Friday. We're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it raw. Roll the title. Whoa. I just heard that again in my ear. Did you guys hear that? Is anybody's audio on, just in case?
Let me
All your
double check.
Macs?
Let me double
Yes,
check.
double check, guys. We don't want that. I don't want to have an
Okay.
echo.
All right.
All right?
Good.
All right. So, Molly, I'm going to turn this over to you, and I'm just going to be your wingman today.
Cool.
Yeah? You ready
Thank
for
you.
this?
I'm ready for this.
We're going to be talking about information graphics. Look at this.
Yes.
Look at this cool book.
You got this.
Molly brought in. Look at this book, guys. Here we go.
Data flow.
You say data?
That's what I said.
I said data.
Data?
Data.
Oh. I don't know.
You know, you watch Star Trek? His name's not Data. His name is Data.
Data?
But
Data
you're
flow.
East Coast, you're Jersey. Maybe that's how they say it in Jersey. Data flow.
Maybe.
All right, anyways. Okay, Molly, let's get
All right.
going. Let's look at your deck.
Let's
What you got?
look at it. I feel like today, in this day and age, it's really hard. Well, people don't have long attention spans, so that's why infographics are so powerful and good. And as designers, we should really learn how to design them impactfully.
Okay.
So let's just look at the definition of an infographic.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah. Infographics are images that represent information in visual ways. Okay. So what is the point?
What is the point?
What is the point? To clarify and summarize the complex, it speeds comprehension, increases engagement, and you have a greater retention and recall of the information. So it's great for studying complicated data.
Okay, so here's where I think you guys need to understand something. In today's information age, we are information rich and time poor. So few of us have the time to read complex reports, multiple page documents, so we employ the services of graphic artists and designers to distill that information down into a bite-sized piece that we can understand in a visual format. I believe that's what information graphics is all about.
Yes, that is.
Let's keep rocking.
Yeah. So the criteria for good information graphics is the content flows easily and logically. You don't have too much text. It's a clear hierarchy, and it's very structured and uncluttered.
That makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
Makes sense, right. So you're giving us context for how we're going to be able to critique the work today.
Yes, I am.
And there's a couple of people who submitted work. Now, granted, they weren't all like what we were looking for and hoped for. That's why we're doing this whole primer on what information graphics are, so that perhaps as you're watching this, you can look at your own information graphics and critique it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe there are 6 types of infographics, right?
Yes,
Take us
that's
through
what I'm
them.
about to touch on next. So just a quick list. It's map, versus, timeline, flowchart, visual article, and data visualization, and I'm going to jump into that a little more.
So you're going to explain to us
Yes.
what each one of these things are, Molly?
Yes. So
Okay.
first...
By the way, you're doing great.
Thank you. Thanks for your help, Chris. Okay, so maps, they showcase data trends based on location. So they compare places or cultures based on a map or a location. So the first example that I have is, this is a map of New York City, and it's talking about the dollars per land. So it's using color coding. So 0 is, very light blue, high cost is dark blue, and it's showing you on the map how much the areas cost.
Okay, so this is how much your land is worth in New York City. So the darker the blue, the more expensive it is. And this surprises me a little bit, that I thought that having waterfront property would be more expensive.
Yeah,
so here's what's really interesting about this information graphic. Now this, I've not seen your deck. This is the first time I'm seeing it. And so I'm reading it in real time, so hopefully I don't get any of this wrong. So the dense center right there near Central Park is the most expensive in that area. So I don't know what that area is called. I'm sure the New Yorkers will tell me in a second. And then there's a down at the very bottom there.
Yeah, that's a village.
It's a village down there?
Yeah, on the right side.
No, on the bottom, on the right hand, on the very bottom.
Yeah.
At that tip.
Yeah.
That is also very dark. And so that looks like it's very expensive too. So what this tells me is I don't have to read reports. I can understand it based on a simple legend. And then I look at the map and I totally understand it. This is well done.
Yes.
I don't love the topography in this, but it's well done.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. It's like a heat map for money.
Yeah.
You want to go rob rich people? There it is, right there.
So I'm sure the designer before this just had a sheet of, numbers, and so they took just the numbers and all this and understood it and put it into a map, so it was very clear. That's usually...
So perhaps what they got was an Excel spreadsheet saying, here's the neighborhoods and here's how much it costs to live there, the land value.
Yeah.
And then they were able to come up with a clever solution for that.
Yes.
It's interesting. When you look at something that's well done, it does look rather obvious.
Yes, it does.
It feels like, what else would they have done?
Yeah.
Right? That makes sense.
It's very clean.
And John, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to say anything at any time, okay?
I just find it interesting how they segmented the gradient to be able to pull out those higher price value areas versus the lower price and still keep it visually effective. Instead of something maybe more blocky in a way,
Yeah.
Because it might show that smooth transition of block to block, or within a few miles you get a change in price.
That's right.
Yeah.
And when it's done well like this, it's like a piece of art.
Right.
It is.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, very, very good on the eyes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So the second type of infographic is versus. So it compares two things in a head-to-head study.
All right.
So it highlights the differences between two similar things or the similarities between two unlike things. And the example that I have for this is NASCAR. And NASCAR versus Formula One. So anything that's in red is represented by NASCAR, and anything that's in blue is Formula One. So it shows you very fast the difference between the two using graphics. And there's a ton of stuff that they're talking about here. And it just very simply illustrates that.
And there's my hometown, Daytona.
All right. Is that where you're from?
I'm in Daytona Beach, Florida, where the NASCAR right close to the racetrack there.
Oh, okay. So you can pick apart information really fast now once you are able to decode it. So NASCAR runs a lot more, or has a lot more drivers, a few more races per year. And they go almost at the exact same speed. And that surprises me because normally you would think Formula One drive, or they go much faster.
Yeah,
only 5 miles per hour faster.
I know.
But the lateral G-force, that's interesting. 2G versus 5G. So you're pulling more Gs as a Formula One racer. And why is that? What do you guys think that's all about?
I don't know.
You guys know what G-force means?
No, I don't.
John, help us understand what G-force is.
Well, it's...
Yes?
It's the force of a car when it's... It's the name G-force. It's the force of a car when you're going at a certain mile per hour. What type of pressure is, I think, pushing upon... it's like that opposite action to reaction type of deal. So when you're cutting through the wind, it's the NASCARs have done a good job trying to make their cars faster, aerodynamics.
Yeah, you're talking about drag coefficient.
Right. So maybe I'm wrong on the G-force.
You might be.
You might need to.
I might know a little bit about G-force, but
do
maybe
you?
not.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what's interesting? In this room, we have an animator. We have a graphic designer, we have a comic book artist, and we have a graphic designer too. So what are we talking about? Physics and G-force?
Right.
Because the internet is going to tear us apart.
Yeah, they are.
I'm going to take a feeble attempt and try to explain G-force.
Okay.
G-force, I think it's a unit measure of gravity, gravitational pull, right? So it has something to do with that. And the higher the G-force, it's kind of the force acting upon your body. So at a certain G-force, you will black out because the blood will be pushed to your extremities and you'll black out.
Wow.
So when they're testing pilots, they want to see how much G-force they can withstand. Because if your plane is in a spiral or something like that, you got to be able to wake up and pull that bad boy out before you die. So I think that's G-force. So I don't know if that means like they're accelerating much faster, start-stop, or perhaps they're taking more turns. Because I think of Formula One cutting through cities and not on a round circular track. So perhaps turning left, right, all that kind of stuff would shift your body weight. I don't know. Somebody who's really into racing,
I'm sure
let
they'll
us know
tell
in the
us.
comments below.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that's cool.
Okay. So then the next.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on. I'm still
I thought
pulling
you were-
apart information.
Sorry.
We also see that the Formula One cars are much lighter.
Yeah.
So that's going to suggest that they probably are much more fuel efficient if they're traveling the same speed. And that's surprising to me too. 1,300 pounds, they're almost a third as light. Very interesting there.
Yeah.
So here's the great thing about this is you don't have to know anything about NASCAR or Formula One and look at something like this. Visually it looks cool. And then to be able to pull apart all kinds of pieces of information
Yeah.
is well done.
Very quickly you can pull it too. So
Yeah.
that's when an infographic is really effective.
Oh, look at that, you guys. Look at the polar opposites there on the right-hand side. Okay, so the pit stops for Formula One happen really fast, 7 seconds as opposed to 11. Those are both incredibly fast times, but relative to one another, one is quite quicker than the other.
Yeah.
And then you can see the track layout there, as I was talking about before, where the track for NASCAR is circular or elliptical, as opposed to Formula One, which is like some crazy shape, because they race through the city.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. And what we also see is that Formula One is global,
And NASCAR.
as far as and NASCAR is just kind of to America, right?
Yeah.
And then you can see also the brands. The brands are American, except for Toyota there. Chevy, Ford, and Toyota. And then the brands' top constructors. Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren. We're international. Okay. All right, let's keep going.
Cool.
Nice,
Yeah.
Nicely done. Good pick here.
So the next one is timeline, and it tells a story through chronological order. So it's best used to show how something's changed over time. So make a long and complicated story easier to understand. So this is the history of the internal combustion engine
Hey, Molly, do you know what chronological means?
in order of, yeah,
Finish it. You got it?
hold on. In order of time.
Yeah, in order of time.
Yes.
Chrono is time, and logical, I suppose, is in order.
Yes.
So from beginning to end.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Cool. Yes, so if we go back to the graphic,
Mm-hmm.
this is very clean and clear, and I just really like the way they did this with the colors, really simple colors, and so it just shows you through illustration and then into pictures how the engine was created.
Okay. Now this one, we get to see the engine as they're mapped to time, but I'm not getting a lot of extra information in this one.
No.
This is using a lot of real estate in terms of a graphic, but in terms of being able to pick apart pieces of information, not so good.
Yeah.
So the first one that we saw with New York City, or with New York, when they had the price of real estate, it was a beautiful graphic. It wasn't meant to communicate a lot, so I totally get this.
Yeah.
I think this one was just meant to show you the kind of the visual history of the combustion engine.
Yes.
And since I'm not an engine gear head, it didn't do that much for me. It's like, oh, you know what I would have liked is how many horsepower each one represents, and how many miles per gallon they got, or how quickly it can accelerate, etc. And maybe how much each one weighed.
Yeah, that
So
would
I
be.
think there's some opportunities here to get more information now. It
Yeah.
could very well be that it's in here and I just can't see it.
Yeah,
is
it's very long. So yeah, it's hard to zoom in and see because it's all blurry since I got it online.
Yeah, so for me, seeing the engine itself, oh, okay, I get it, but I would have liked to have more information. Mm-hmm.
Can
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what do you think of the overall layout of that? Does that make it harder for you to read, or aesthetically?
Yes. Yeah. So I was just going to get into that, and I think, thank you, John, for prompting me on this in terms of the design itself. Now, the layout itself from afar kind of looks pretty good. It's got black, white, and red, and it's got like one typeface, a condensed typeface, probably Trade Gothic Bold Condensed number 20, I think. And it's kind of got minimal elements, but in terms of using a very bold condensed typeface like that, it's good for display typeface, not so good for body copy. This is where it becomes really hard to read.
Yeah.
So you can read fuel efficient diesel, but underneath that you can't read anything.
No.
And we're looking at all these graphics at the same size on a screen. The other one, we were able to pick apart all kinds of information.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one looks pretty cool. So what would I do differently? I would probably scale down these elements, the engines, to be much, much smaller, and really don't repeat the elements because it didn't really add anything.
Yeah, that's true.
They're trying this kind of Bradbury Thompson overlay overprinting technique, but this is where it kind of gets more decorative and not functional.
That's true.
Okay, that's just my 2 cents, guys.
Yeah.
Feel free to disagree with me. I know you will.
Just caught my eye.
Yeah, it's a
And
nice
it is, yeah.
looking design
Yeah.
from afar. But like they say, looks good from far, but far from good.
It's a good
You
one.
heard that saying, right?
Yeah, I know. I heard it before.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
That's what they say about me all the time.
Yeah. Okay, so next is flowchart. Flowchart provides a specialized answer to a question based on your choices. So it's best used to provide a personalized answer for readers, and it showcases how multiple situations can reach the same conclusion. So I'm sure everyone has seen a bunch of these on the internet before. And this is, I want to make an animated movie. So it goes into, first you have a concept, you have an idea, yes or no. And there's constant questions that are yes and no. And then it leads you to another answer and eventually brings you down to the bottom few answers, which are either like, yes, make the movie, no, start over, or whatever. So it's just a fun way. Yeah.
They're in Wired magazine, sometimes in GQ, whether or not you should wear something or how you should respond to the request.
Yeah.
You can just look at this like a decision tree.
Yeah.
That's another way to say it, flowchart decision tree. So you start with a prompt. I want to make an animated movie. So do you have a concept? Yes or no? And do you have financing? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Do you have a crew? And then you would go through this thing and then, yes, go make your movie, and here's where you would release it. So one we could make a fun one. It should, maybe it could say something like, which social platform is right for me?
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then the answers would be at the bottom: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, your mom, whatever.
Yeah.
And
None.
those would be your answers.
Yeah.
And then you would try to drive them through a series of questions. And so these are always fun to do because it feels like a game, a game board,
Yeah,
like
it is.
Monopoly or Chance or Life or something like that. Yeah.
They are fun.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
And then visual article. So it makes a piece of writing more visual. And you see these a lot in like Times, magazines, and stuff like that. So it speeds the comprehension and, again, just makes an article more interesting. So this, it's in a different language, but just by looking at it, I can tell that it's talking about swimming and what goes on in your body with the way that you're breathing and the way that oxygen
So the
flows.
science of swimming?
Swimming, yes.
Cool.
Science of swimming.
This might be more up John's alley right here, John. There's illustration, there's some kind of graphics and arrows, and so a person who's skilled at drawing, this could be a good thing for you.
Yeah.
But
That's-
editorial illustration, as I understand, the pay sucks, so maybe not. It's like you get paid $100,
Yeah.
$150
I'll
per
take it.
illustration. Yeah. So you're saying it's better than comic book work?
It can be.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's just take a slight detour here since we're on the subject here. How much is the going rate for an inked page?
It really depends.
What is
on,
the range?
The public.
I would say starting nowadays is around maybe $70 a page.
Oh my gosh, that's it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise, right?
Wow.
And how far can it go?
You're actually lucky that your uncle
He saved me from becoming
Yes.
a comic book
he
artist.
saved you becoming a poor man. Yeah, so I think the starting is around 70 and maybe the top rate is around 200 per page. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so it's one of those things where if you're fast, you can make money, but relating fast into what amount of work that you have to put into a page
Yeah.
doesn't also translate into what I would consider good work.
Now, how many pages can you ink a day, John?
I always, I just wanted my work to be the best, so I felt comfortable doing one.
One a day?
Yep. And
Okay.
you got to remember, I was most active in the 80s, 90s, into the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did transition into DC Warner Brothers style guides,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I started doing vectors.
Oh.
And that's where I basically learned Illustrator from doing vector inking with Disney and then through DC licensing.
Cool.
That's
Style
awesome.
guides.
Yeah.
Now, John, I'm going since Molly's running the deck. I'm gonna
Mhm.
do the Molly's shop here, and I'm gonna
Okay.
find your website. So, what
Well-
is the URL?
You're not going to find a lot there, but it's just johnbeattyart.com.
Okay, I already have it. Look at that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's something I
Elvira.
inked over
Ooh.
Mike Zeck, and you can, the date on that is really, you know how it is, you don't update your own website enough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's some examples of, those are combo pieces that when Mike Zeck is attending a show, we usually sit right next to each other. I've known Mike for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
He started mentoring me because he wanted me to be his inker, and I was game for it. And we
Erica,
did.
can we cut to my screen? Thank you. Okay,
And-
keep going.
That was just some guy came up at a convention and he wanted to Elvira.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
This was a sketch cover of the Punisher that we did.
Cool.
Are you using marker for this?
Yeah, this is brush markers.
Mhm.
It's
Beautiful work, man.
Kurosaki brush markers that I actually order from Jet Pens out here somewhere in California.
Mm-hmm.
But I do, at home I'll still take out the old dip brush and pens and stuff like that and use real ink.
Like
But
a sable brush?
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, this is, another sketch cover. These have become very popular where the covers are blank,
Right.
and they take it to their artist that they want to, do a sketch on. And with Mike and I having the history that we have together on so many projects, the Zeck Beatty combination is fairly well known even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
30 years after we haven't really worked on stuff together except doing conventions.
Oh, the Red Skull.
Yeah.
So
that's-
when a kid comes up, he hands the book over. I've been that kid before,
Yeah.
where you approach an artist. And how much does a custom cover that's penciled and inked like this go for at the trade show?
Those right now, Mike and I are charging $200 a piece for.
Okay, and how many of these can you get done a day?
Not many.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because they're again, it goes back to, we know it's going to show up on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and if we put bad stuff out, we really don't want our name attached to it.
Right.
So we try to limit what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when I do a show, I'm looking at 3.5 to 4 hours of sleep a night, because I will take stuff back to the room to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, wow.
So when
Oh,
I'm
man.
yeah.
I didn't realize that, because some of the artists that I see, they're banging these things out in an hour.
Well, some people have that talent
Yeah.
that can really fly through them,
Mm-hmm.
and some give you a little less of a sketch.
Right. I
You
know
know.
some of those artists.
Yeah. So there is a qualifier to the length of time spent.
Yeah.
So Mike and I are ones that we don't want to do something now we do remarks, which is a small, faster sketch on comic book covers. But these that people will pay a little bit more for, we make sure we spend the extra time and deliver hopefully a quality product. Still in this, it's still in the setting of a Comic-Con, whether it be in the room, which is not the most comfortable place to ink or draw,
Mm-hmm.
and at the table where, if you try to start something, it never fails. You work on something for 2 minutes, someone comes up, wants autographs or something, you stop and talk to them. You got to
Right.
put the drawing down, pick it
Right.
up, draw,
Oh, okay. That makes it even more difficult to do.
Right.
Because you can't just have your head down and be drawing, because the fans want to meet you, they want to talk to you.
And when you do that,
Yeah.
a lot of them are afraid to approach you because they don't want to disturb you.
Right.
And they'll mention that, and I'll say, like, well, you got to disturb me because I'm looking down. I'm not going to see you. So
Right.
just come up and say, hey, John. I mean, I'm good. I interrupt me. I
Just
tell
say,
them
"Hey,"
you have to.
Okay, so your tip is, if there's an artist there, they do want to talk to you. They're not antisocial. They're not ignoring you. They're just focused on their task. So the best thing is just to say, hi, I'm a fan of your work. I just want to say hello. Is that good?
For the most part, I
Okay.
mean, some may not like it,
Yeah.
but as for me, I can speak for myself. If I look busy, still just say, hey, John.
Yeah.
I'm no big deal. I'm very approachable.
All right. Okay, that's super cool. You know what? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail Molly's thing. Molly, you ready to?
Yes, I'm ready.
Thanks
We
for
just
sharing
have
that,
one
and
more.
We'll continue to have these kind of little side conversations.
Okay.
Because I think we can weave all this stuff together. Okay, Molly, back to
Okay.
you.
Cool. So, yes, this was the last. This is the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Data visualization. And this is the most common one that I feel like we see all over.
Mm-hmm.
So it communicates. Wait, how do you. Data? Data.
Data.
Whatever way you want to say it.
Okay. Well,
It
it communicates data through charts, graphs, or design. So let's see. It makes data-driven arguments easier to understand and facts and statistics more interesting to absorb.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a really complicated one, but it's, again, very simple and clear and communicates, to me, it communicates very easily. So it's talking about energy and water.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. And, by 2035, the energy consumption will increase, and which will increase the water consumption. So it's actually, this is also kind of comparing the two, but it is giving a lot of data-driven facts in a graphic way,
Not in a verbal way.
not in a verbal way. It's using very little text.
Okay, this is the one that we're probably most used to seeing on the internet. If you guys are searching on Pinterest for data visualization, infographics, something like that, you're going to see things like this, and they're all done at varying levels of quality, and we can see that it's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So here they're using icons, and this is an important thing because they're turning a piece of information and they're representing that information instead of a generic pie chart or a graph. They're turning that graph into something that relates to you as a human being. So when they say there's 2.5 billion have unreliable water source, and then 2.8 billion live in areas of high water stress, I assume that's relative to the entire population of the planet. So we see that only a small percentage of people actually have access to electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's things about energy and consumption. So there's a light bulb. I don't love that drawing of the light bulb, but it looks a little too cute for me.
Yeah, I
A
know.
little cute, right?
Yeah.
It feels like it stands out. When you're using a visual language like this of like these bathroom icons,
Mm-hmm.
I forget what they're called again, but there's a term for those icons.
These, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, there's a language there. Somebody on the internet will tell us, and then you choose something else. You want to make sure that visually they're synced up,
Yeah.
that they feel the same. That if it's whimsical, then let it all be whimsical, and if it's really serious, then let it all be serious. That's how I look at it. So for the most part, I think all the graphics on this page, at a quick glance, look consistent to me, from the way that the countries are highlighted, to the kind of like line work that's going on behind it, and these radiating circles. I like the orange and the blue and the brown,
Yeah.
the thermostat, the clipboard, the waves, and these drops. So the light bulb is the only one that stands out to me.
Yeah, because it's bubbly, I guess,
Mhm.
and different. Yeah.
It feels like too round and too cute.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
nice. So that was a really great primer on the 6 different types.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Oh, are we done with the keynote?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Ah! My computer's
It's okay.
exploding.
Yours wasn't
Okay.
queued up. It was mine.
All right, so we're all good.
Okay.
So let's do a review here, guys. Here are the 6 types. You guys might want to screen capture this. A map, doing the versus or a comparison, a chronological timeline with some kind of visual information presented, a flow chart, which is another fancy word for a decision tree. Those are fun to do. They're kind of like a game. A visual article, which is an illustration that's most likely editorial in nature and has additional layers of information, maybe the science of something, we can always geek out and stuff like that. I love
Yes.
that kind of stuff. And then the last one, the one that we're most used to seeing is data visualization, or if you're from New Jersey, it's data visualization. Okay, those are the 6 types. And so pay attention, guys. When we
Yeah.
go and review the work, we're going to critique it, and we're going to try to identify which type it is. Now, I believe there are more types, but for the sake of what we're talking about today, we've reduced it down to 6 just to make it a little more digestible.
Yes.
Is that cool?
That's cool.
And John, as a special surprise guest on our show, feel free to critique the work as well. So I'm going to go and share my Illustrator board in 1 second.
Cool.
Molly,
Yes.
who do we want to talk to first? Or do we, you know what? Let's go to YouTube.
Let's go to YouTube.
I'll go
Yeah.
on YouTube. I'll read some comments, you guys.
Yeah, I
Molly,
haven't been
you go on
checking the
Facebook.
comments,
yeah,
guys.
I'll read them right now. Let's see
Okay.
what they have to say.
Let's see
Okay, here we go.
what they think about
All right, I
this.
shared John's work there. People are like, wow. Some people were really surprised. They thought you could do 100 of these in a day. And they're glad to know you're just human too and not part cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. some fans from Johannesburg, South Africa. What up?
Cool. Let me see.
By the way, I love the show as a viewer, Chris. So I just wanted to, while I'm here, tell you all how much I've learned myself and appreciate what you guys are doing.
I appreciate you for saying that, John. I really
Hey,
do.
that's from my heart.
Aw. Okay,
Okay,
somebody on the
yeah.
internet thinks I'm very arrogant.
Really?
James Benson thinks I'm very arrogant. Okay, that's fine.
I can tell you, James, he's not.
And now there's a little sub conversation going on about me being the Gordon Ramsay of design, but it's whatever.
It's
Okay.
true. It's true.
Now,
Do those people not get better, though, truthfully?
They do.
Yes, they do.
I don't know. Here's the thing, though. If you want Mr. Rogers, go tune in for Mr. Rogers. If you
Right.
want Gordon Ramsay, go watch Gordon Ramsay. That's the interesting thing about this world. Variety is the spice of life, and you can find whoever you feel connected to, who feels like they're giving you what you need. Okay? I'll just share from a personal experience here. I've seen a therapist, I've seen coaches, business coaches, all kinds. I want things to be very actionable. I don't want them to get soft and fuzzy with me. I just want them to break down the problem and explain to me what are my choices, the decisions I need to make. And that works really well for me. Now, for some other people, if they had the same coach or therapist, they're like, whoa, that's a little too fast, and it feels like you're yelling at me or you're angry at me.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste time.
Mm-hmm.
Time is so precious, so I want step-by-step information. Tell me what I need to do. I'm not going to question you too much. I will try, and where I struggle and fail, I'll come back and report back to you, and then maybe you can give me some more advice. And that's how I've been able to advance in my career.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you guys one surprising thing, maybe surprising to some people, is when I was at Adobe Max, I was there for 3 days, I would run into people, and they would say, hey, I'm a fan, and we would talk. And I would take time, I would shake their hand, I would say, what is your name? And I would chat with them. And a lot of people are like, wow, you're like so polite. Thank you for being, I am just a normal person. And when I'm just talking to you as a normal person on the street, I'm a regular dude. But when you come to me and you're asking me for business advice, I'm going to cut to the quick. I don't have time to dilly-dally. I don't want to beat around the bush because you know what? Your time is valuable. My time is valuable. I want to respect that. And that's it. So if it comes across as being super arrogant, so be it. I'm not going to apologize for it. I am who I am, and I'm good with that. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay. So.
All right, I'm feeling the love, you guys. That was not a whole ploy on
Let's see. Chris.
me looking for some
love.
some love, some
What's going on
affirmations
here?
Okay, Molly, let's just keep going then.
Okay.
We're gonna critique some work then, and while you guys can continue the debate about whether or not I'm arrogant or not,
Okay.
we will look at some work. So whose work should we look at?
Let's look at
Whose work?
Well, can you go back to your
No,
screen?
you just tell me the name and.
Alon. Wait, I think Alon. Let's do that one. Help Nigeria exit.
Okay.
Brian Min.
Okay, this is from who?
Brian.
Oh, Brian Min. Okay, Brian. I believe Brian submitted this graphic
A
to us
part of it.
before.
Well, he submitted that Help Nigeria exit.
Help Nigeria exit, right?
Yeah.
With this iconographic thing. It's called a pictogram, isn't it?
Yes, that's what they were saying.
It's
That's
a
what the
pictogram.
internet was
See,
saying.
I'm not totally stupid. I'm just, it's a pictogram.
He said he wrote, taking the poster design selected, reviewed further for an infographic. I don't know.
All right. Thanks for that illuminating piece of information.
Yes.
Okay, help
Okay.
Nigeria exit. Okay. So which one should we look at? Well, let's look at this one.
Yeah.
We're used to seeing these things tall and skinny. All right, so I'm going to take a minute to look at this, you guys, and you guys can play along here. Help Nigeria exit. Children in Nigeria are dying of extreme hunger. Ooh, I see a problem already. How severe is acute malnutrition? There's hunger, and there's undernutrition. Okay. See how your giving helps save lives. $10, okay, $40, $100, and $210 could buy a sheep. Help today and save lives. Okay. Oh, I got a lot of things to critique on this one. Okay. You know what we're gonna do?
Open up the deck? No.
Yeah. No. We're not gonna open the deck yet. I need to get into, what is this thing here? I need to option drag this over. Okay. So first thing I gotta do is make a duplicate. Way to get into this. I'm gonna pick this thing apart, but I'm gonna ask you guys first before I take out the scalpel or the hatchet, if you will. I'd like to ask you guys, what are some observations you have? What is your critique of this?
Okay. Well, at first, it was very clean and clear compared to the others that I was looking at. So I really appreciated the
one color design, one typeface.
Yes.
Right?
Keeping it clean and kind of uncluttered, you know? Separating it very clearly, and there is hierarchy here. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
What is that? Oh, okay.
Stay focused, Molly. We're waiting for you.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
I don't want to interrupt your thought process.
How can we stop hunger? I don't know. I guess now.
I know what I felt when I first saw it is it looks less like an infographic and it looks more like just a rack card that somebody may have. It doesn't really have elements that kind of lead the eye in a certain way, and there seems to be a ton of information in a small place that's small. There's not these bigger things that would, you know, kind of stick out. It's all the contrast, I guess, is what we would say is, for me, not there.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go back to excuse me, Molly's deck here, and I'm gonna go into what is the point. It's to make data visual.
Right.
Yes.
So what's the point? To clarify and summarize, to help us speed comprehension, increase engagement, yada, yada, yada. Content flows, don't have too much text. Okay, so one thing that we can look for is how much text is there on there? How much are they expecting us to read?
Yeah.
Now, if we use the New York map one, there's very little to read. It's mostly visuals. So that's a pretty good gold standard.
Yeah.
I thought the NASCAR one was really good too. And there's copy to read there, but I don't even have to read it, to be honest. I can understand it.
I think that one's like, you know, spot on.
This one's really good for the amount of information it has to convey, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So instead of saying, okay, let me scale this thing up here.
It's bigger chunks that easily communicate at just a glance.
So let me duplicate this so I don't destroy Molly's deck here. I'm going to delete this. I double click on this, and I'm working inside Keynote here, which I love, you guys. And then
Keynote
I'm going to
King.
go crop. Where's the crop tool? There we go. And I'll pull it out here to right there. Now I'll resize this into the center here. Okay. Now you guys notice the logos, the top constructors? That's basically all the text that you need because you can tell the icons they chose really communicate a lot about the appeal of who's working where. So Chevy, Ford, and Toyota, it's kind of American NASCAR thing, great. Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren, more international brands. And so we get a sense of where people are coming from, 19 countries, 4 continents, etc. So they're showing the globe. That's a really fast communication versus the United States. So without even really reading it and understanding it, I can get a sense because of the comparison. The comparison is really, really strong. If you showed 2 globes, it'd be a little harder to figure it out.
Yeah, that's
so it was a smart choice. Now let's get into Illustrator here.
Okay.
I'm going to spend some time on this because we don't have that many to critique, and I'd rather do one really thorough job to help you guys as opposed to bounce around, okay? So first, I'm going to just pick apart the nitpicky problems. These are 2 different colored greens. Can you guys see that?
I saw that, yeah.
And so we just need to solve that problem right now because it's bugging me. I think it
go.
should be like that. So a little oversight there.
The head. You
Oh, I'm sorry. The head. Can't forget the head. Okay?
Okay.
Little oversight there. And I was saying that if you guys are going to be designers, an art director is going to see that and say, a little sloppy.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that. As trying to relate it back to Mr. John Beatty. He's like, I got to do quality. My name's attached to things.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back to the hotel, sacrifice sleep in order to make a better quality product. I don't want to just hand this over to a kid, even though it's a fixed fee. And they're not going to complain once you give them the work.
Yeah.
They're not. They might complain on the internet later,
Right.
but not going to complain on the spot. So it's a matter of professional pride. Okay, here's another problem, is it's mostly just black and white or green and white. And I don't understand why this Help
Isn't
Nigeria
gray.
Exit is not white. It should just be bold, okay?
Okay.
So something's there. Okay, so this part, I get it. That's kind of like your headline.
Intro.
Okay, and now the rest of this starts to fall apart here for me. I literally have to read all these things to understand them.
Mhm.
I wish
Yeah.
you would have just gone in to show me visually. What do I mean? Okay, how severe is acute malnutrition? So the result of it is death. Okay, so maybe this is one where you show a lot of crosses, and you
Like-
show how many, what is the infant mortality rate in one country versus another. So in Nigeria, it's much, much higher.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 50% versus Western countries, which will be like 2% or 1%.
So a bunch of tombstones or something.
I would just show crosses or tombstones, or
Yeah.
graves, something
Yeah.
like that. We could easily do that, and let's do it right now.
Okay.
Okay? Let me lock this background layer. I'm going to delete all this. So he's really trying to show hunger, but this doesn't really show hunger. I mean, I see something in a kidney shape, and I have to
Yeah.
really spend time thinking about that.
Yeah.
But when the last information is about death, let's just go straight to it. Let's just go to death, right? So let's draw ourselves a little coffin, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to do a box, and I'm going to use the eyedropper, which is I, and select something like this. So now we know it's white. And if you go to Object, Path, Add Anchor Point, it'll give you some extra anchor points. You guys see that? I'll zoom in.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to see it like this, so let me go Command Y. It gave us some extra anchor points. So I'm going to change the color of this. Go into my layers palette, and I'm going to double click on this layer. And instead of doing this really bright green, I'll do something like dark blue here, you guys, so you guys can see it a little bit better.
Okay.
Okay, so now when I select it, you guys see the blue points?
Yes.
All right, cool. So all I need to do, I believe a coffin, you bring this thing up a little bit, and you scale it out from there. And maybe we bring it down, and our coffin's done. Okay, that's
So
pretty simple,
fast,
right?
So fast.
Yep.
Yeah, I try and find the shortest way. And you know why I have to do that is because our fans are so smart. They're so good with Illustrator. They're sitting there judging every keystroke of mine. I'm like, wow, you're doing it the dinosaur way. Wah."
Dinosaur.
Yeah, hey, grandpa, do it the Illustrator CC
Your
2000,
age is showing.
2020 version, right? Okay, so I'll move this over here,
Maybe you should put a
and
cross
I'm going
in
to drag it over here. Maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
And
Blend.
I'm going to use
tool.
the blend tool, which is what? What's the keyboard shortcut?
Command B. I don't know.
For some reason, it's W.
W.
For some reason, it's W.
We
so
came up with something for that.
I'll click on this. I'll click on this and see if it will do it.
Y blend.
And then that's why. So
Why
I'm
is the blend tool W?
specified steps? Well, I don't know, maybe 20. And click on preview so you guys can see that. Maybe that's too tight. 18,
No, but we need to show
17.
that there's a lot of death. So there should be a lot.
Hold on, he's working it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Alright,
John,
alright.
thank you very much, John. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm trying to get the spacing to be okay, because when it's too close, it'll read like something else. Okay,
Okay.
so that's my thing. All right, but that's not enough deaths, obviously. So I have no data to work with here, you guys. And if Molly wants me to have more deaths, I can scale it down. But really, oops, I don't want to do that. I want to take this, move this out. Over here again. Now that'll be too few. We can double click on that Y blend tool again.
Y blend.
To like what, 30? Probably too much. Maybe 27,
Eight.
28. There. Okay.
Yeah.
Now what we can do is we can take this thing right here and duplicate it up like so.
Mm-hmm.
Hit Command D, and now we have a bunch of coffins.
Beautiful.
But then now we need to change the color, right? Because they're not all deaths. Not everybody's dead.
So gray.
Or something like that.
Okay.
So we can then change that. So the way you would do that is you'd select this thing all and go Object, Path,
Expand.
expand it. There it expand appearance. And I think we have to do it one more time. Maybe you have to rasterize it. No, flatten transparency.
Is that it?
Just do okay. There we go. Now we have individual shapes, guys.
Cool.
So I'll try to make this pretty. And this represents no real data, you guys. It represents nothing. It just represents whatever we want it to be for now. Do you want to change the color? Or you want to just make it a different shade?
A different shade.
Okay, so I'll make it like 30%. Is that too light?
Do you want to sample the map?
This thing up here?
Yeah.
Hey, good call. John, are you a professional artist or something?
I play one on TV.
You're playing one today?
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, shoot.
I kind of like it out here, Chris.
25%.
25.
You do like it out here, like in California?
Well, yeah.
Or on the show?
Both.
Okay.
Where are you from?
Daytona Beach.
Oh, you said that earlier.
I'm coast to coast, kind of here.
There you go. Right? So maybe then we would change that piece of information. What you want to do is you want to turn these into an icon or a graphic.
Cool.
And then that'll help us understand this a little bit better. Okay?
Okay.
So 240 children death per day as opposed to some other country, Europe, America, so that we have some references.
Yeah.
I got an idea.
Go ahead. Shoot.
If you want to, instead of the halftone of the green or the tint,
Yes?
on the deaths, maybe black for death, like, and then white for the lesser ones, then have a mid-range of the tone.
Mm-hmm.
You follow where I'm going?
You want these to be black?
Well, the ones that are
Dead.
Oh, these ones, the white ones,
yeah,
be black.
black as in no life at all, dead.
Uh-huh.
And then you could also, I'm thinking, put black in as a secondary color, black and green.
Black, green, white, and...
And the halftone would be not, maybe up at the first 5 or 3 or whatever, make those white, and then have the halftone and then go into black.
Like these would be white?
Yeah.
Okay.
And see how that, so it gives an idea of the severity where it starts to transition.
Yeah, I like that. Like, again, we're working with no real data. We're just making stuff up. But say, for example, it had 240 deaths per day. Okay. So I think this is still grouped. Yeah. So what if we scale this down? And then we did a comparison. Say from Nigeria versus some other place. So we can show one in Nigeria and say European average.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And this would represent 24 versus this.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Some options there, guys. What you need to do is to be the designer and interpret the information and give it a visual language.
Yeah.
We want to make information visual. We want to make it easier to comprehend. And so this is, although a nice layout, it's not really working in what we would normally consider an information graphic.
Yeah.
Okay, let's save this and then let's move on.
Okay.
All right. What else are we doing, Molly?
We are doing... I'm looking it up.
Like
the
this
first one, that one, the daily tempo.
Okay, let's look at daily tempo. So
Okay.
I'll zoom in here. I'll hide all my junk. Okay, let's take a moment to look at this. I'm looking at it for the first time right now. You guys do the same. Just take a moment to process what you're seeing.
Okay.
Okay. Let's open it up, you guys. What do you guys think?
So, again, this one caught my eye because out of the ones I've gotten, this is very clean. And visually, it's appealing to look at. But when I'm looking at it, I'm not really understanding what's going on. So I'm looking at this chart and this like almost like a racetrack looking shape. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, the colors are rap, rock, pop, but I don't really know what's going on here. Like it's talking about music tempo and the top tracks. But for me, it's not, I'm just really not sure what he's trying to convey or what information graphics they're really trying to communicate with daily tempo.
Did he submit some kind of text for us to understand this?
My infographic print of my music listening habits over the span of 14 days. Data recorded using Last FM.
So this is his listening habits.
Yes.
So you have a sample of one.
Of over 14 days.
Yeah, but just one person. So when you have one sample, it could skew 1,000 different ways. Like if he was a country fan, it would just skew totally differently. You need to maybe compare maybe you versus somebody else. I think he's also saying something about the amount of music you listen to determines your level of productivity. So again, he's not showing somebody who listens to music and what they're able to do, and somebody who's not listening to music and how that affects them. But you would have to get a pretty large sample, 10, 20, 30,000 people before you can actually come up with any kind of statistical data. Statistics are accurate if you take a big enough cross-section of people and you have a large enough sampling. And right now there isn't. It's just maybe this was a student assignment to make an infographic.
Yes, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you mention that already?
No.
Oh, okay. And John, do you have any thoughts on this?
Kind of like Molly, I'm having a hard time just figuring it out at a quick glance, which is the purpose of, unless it's in a magazine. If it's online, I'm not going to sit and look at that. It just seems like the locations, it seems small. I think those could be simplified or made bigger so that the little details might see, but I don't really think it's about the detail. I think it's about the location. So again, simplification. Maybe putting them somewhere else. Maybe his what's the name of the daily tempo? That may be a bit big. Instead, maybe it could run across the top without the break.
Yeah.
And then put the 14 days of audio underneath it, perhaps, and then that would open up space for your actual graphics, your visuals, to have a little more room to live.
So I'm just moving things around based on aesthetics, not necessarily on function right now. And really, when you're doing these kinds of infographics, you really need to look at the function and translate this for somebody.
So
yeah,
the hierarchy, which was in one of my slides from the keynote, trying to figure out what is like the flow of this and what's the most important, because a lot of it is, the top tracks, top artists, albums, and totals. All those are pretty much the same scale. So I don't know, maybe they're all the same amount of importance, but it's not clear to me.
Yeah, okay. So here's my critique of this. It is a really good looking design. It has that kind of modernist feel to it. Beautiful color palette, very clean graphics. It doesn't communicate a whole lot. It's really hard to figure out. And in terms of infographics, you're trying to say something, and this could have been doomed from the beginning. When you're sampling like one person and you're just talking about what you do, it's a very personal exploration here, you guys. And that's all this is. And even in the way he communicates the genres that he listens to between house, pop, folk, jazz, rock, and rap, maybe there could have been an icon to represent each one of those.
Yeah.
So instead of a line.
That's true.
Something like that.
Yeah, because all the lines on the other side, it just kind of all becomes...
Yeah, this line means something else.
Right.
Or, there's... I don't know.
Yeah, I
That's it.
I get where you're going. I understand, your critique of those lines. That kind of bothered me too. And that they're angling down, and yet it seems like they're like the bottom one, which I can't read from here. Seems like it's
Wrap?
the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like that's the one that's higher. It's going down. So to me, the downward motion reads as down.
Decline.
Exactly.
Decreasing, yeah. Okay, so whoever did this, what's this person's name?
Alon,
you seem to have a good command over design and typography, and this is the next level of that, using typography, design, and image and illustration to communicate an idea. I think that's your next challenge, is to work that part out.
yeah. Good job.
It's a really nice layout.
It's beautiful.
Like if we were just talking about typography, I would give you an entirely different critique.
Yeah.
But since you submitted this for the information graphics, I have to kind of judge you that way, okay?
Cool.
All right. Anything else, Molly?
Nope.
All right.
Next is...
Well, let's go to YouTube.
Okay.
Let's talk to some people. So I have my YouTube up here. Chris, fix your mic level, please. It's very low.
I think we just adjusted that, right?
What's wrong with my mic, guys?
I don't know.
Really? You guys adjusted it, Erica? I mean, it's pointing right at me like it always is.
How many people have said it?
I don't know. I'm just looking at that one comment here, but
If it's just one person, it's probably their speaker.
no, but it's relative. See, so if you guys are talking, I'm talking, and your mic's louder than mine, this is usually how they say that. All right, somebody's saying hey from Jamaica, from Bosnia. They're still
it's
debating
fine now.
about whether or not
Okay.
I'm arrogant. Okay.
Cool.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
Infographic wise? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, on this show, like.
No, I'm saying like we have
Yeah,
another
Molly.
infographic to review. It's very, there's a lot on it, and it's a lot to take on if you feel up to it, Chris.
Well, I'm getting a lot of grooming questions and things like that.
I know.
I feel like this segment is dying on the vine right now, you guys.
Okay, all right.
There's not a lot of enthusiasm. Like, everybody's talking about everything but this. It does seem like the mic is fine, Erica. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
Maybe let's talk to John again. Well, let me take a look at this next one, and then I'll decide if we
Yeah,
want
if
to
you want to
critique it.
even jump into that.
Yeah, let's see it. Okay. All right. Which one? Raul? No. This guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's this?
Premature birth crisis.
Who's this?
Let me look. Let's see.
Vindu?
Says Vinod?
Vinod. Yes.
Yes.
Vinod Mar something. Okay.
Present condition of premature birth across the globe. What can be done to prevent it worsening?
Premature birth kills one baby every 30 seconds. More children die. Malaria, AIDS, diarrhea.
Diarrhea?
That's not how you spell diarrhea, is it?
No.
I should know. I have a very weak stomach, you guys. I
There
know that
shouldn't
word
be
very
an
well.
O.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's bothering me.
There we go.
Premature birth care. So this is like born too soon source. Okay. Okay, there's lots of okay, we will talk about this, and this will probably be the last one we're talking about. And then I'll answer all the crazy questions that are coming in on YouTube. So you guys that are on YouTube that want to know all these weird things, I'll let you know what the answers are to that, but
Later.
not just yet. We're gonna keep focused on this, and then we'll answer that.
Cool.
Okay. Premature birth crisis. 15 million babies. Okay. Again, I'm gonna turn it over to Molly and John. You guys take the first stab.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm looking at it and I feel like the way they're using the white space right now. Let me see. Actually, I need a minute. Let me process
many
my
minutes.
thoughts. And John, you go first.
Okay.
John, the first guy, first time on the show, rookie. Let's throw him.
Let's
Yeah.
throw him
on
under the
fire.
bus. Come on, John.
Not on the bus, but just throw him on the fire. Go ahead,
Yes.
John.
How about Erica?
Okay, Erica
Okay,
or John.
yeah.
Okay, I can zoom in. Okay.
Erica needs some time.
So it's very centered.
It is very centered.
Everything is all centered.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to see some variety in things next to each other or shifted around. Seems very, this is a thing, here's the next thing, here's the next thing. And
Okay.
I like some mix up of it.
Okay. I think what you're referring to is called visual hierarchy.
Yes.
You want to see a little bit more visual hierarchy and some layout that's a little bit more interesting to pull you in.
Yeah, I think
That's the thing.
that I feel like it needs a little bit more structured. Like the Nigeria one was very clear. It had lines separating each section with what they're talking about. And in here, it's just like things are thrown. And because it doesn't really seem like there's any guides, and it's just like shifting a little to the left, a little to the right, a little to the left. So it's making it a little confusing for me. And I do appreciate that they're using more icons to try and show what's going on. But again, overall, it's just kind of, I don't want to say cluttered, but it just seems like they've thrown a bunch of stuff on the page and there's no order.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
That's about it for right now, from on my side.
Okay. John?
I was just gonna say I understand the use of the pink and the blue,
Mhm.
you know, boy, girl,
Right.
baby. The black kind of becomes overpowering in a sense, even though it's a less of a line weight. Just that it's black, it tends to resonate maybe a bit too more, and at the weights it's not that legible. So the black is kind of distracting to my eye.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, the light colors are hard to read on
All right.
white.
I'm with John. The blue and the pink are what you would associate with nurseries,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a father myself. This is pretty much the color palette, and it puts me in the right frame of mind. So, good choice on the colors. And there's some icons being used there, but I still think that you have to master the information. So you have a map here of 50 million babies born too soon every year, but instead of doing an information graphic, you just put the title on it. So what could you have done creatively to translate in the U.S. there's 500,000 babies born too soon, as opposed to Brazil? So Brazil has a better rate than the U.S. Nigeria is 0.8. India is 3.5,
Wow.
and China. So India is where the big problem is, right?
Yeah.
And I assume the nod is Indian. It could be Indian, right?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so that's where the biggest problem is. But you wouldn't be able to tell that from here.
Uh-huh.
And I guess Australia down there just gets
Obscured with this thing.
Yeah, with its
like there are
stopwatch.
no problems in
Yeah,
Australia.
exactly. So we can use that area.
Yeah.
No one is
let me
born
move
in
this.
Australia.
Look at that. It's totally fine. Okay, they're just highlighting where the biggest problems are with
Right.
babies being born too soon. So maybe the population there is just too small.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't know. So the biggest problem is here, but we're not designing that, so we do need to do something there. Okay?
Okay.
One of the things I talk to you guys about a lot is try to limit how many point sizes you use. This is bananas. So it's all caps in blue, all caps in pink, but it's slightly smaller. And then this is upper lower, and then this is all lower, but it's in black. This is just so much. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to hide this first. Is there anything left over? Okay. Let's just try and fix this part first.
Yeah.
Premature birth crisis. Maybe that should just be one line. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah? So let's scale this down. And if you want to scale things down via the keyboard, that's going to take too long. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go in here.
Now, Chris, someone's asking,
Excellent.
would you use a certain type of grid for infographics?
Yeah, if you want to. Why not? I got no problems with grids.
I know you don't, but is there a certain method or something that you would do for when you're like, okay, I'm designing an infographic, this is the type of grid I need? Or does it just depend on the page size?
Well, this is a lot of real estate to work with. Theoretically, this could be a tall poster.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look at designing blocks of information at a time. And then I need to then look at it all together.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just make one area look good, and then they'll start to take shape. It's kind of
Okay.
like designing a long landing page.
Yeah.
So let's just not freak out over the whole page just yet, and then we will get into it, okay?
Cool.
So we can talk about grids in a second. When you do something in all caps like this, it becomes quite hard to read. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
So maybe we should change the case there. I think I might have to do this. Type. There it is. Change case. Let's do title case.
Okay.
Is that a little bit easier to read?
Yes.
So we recognize these shapes, the upper and lower case. When we can see that, it aids in the legibility of this thing. And the light blue color here might be a little bit hard to read against the white. We will deal with that later. So 15 million babies born too soon every year. So that, I think, is related to this. I feel like it.
I
You
feel
guys
like
agree?
It is too. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to hit return here. And is it Command Option Shift V? No. All right. Select all, Command Shift C to center that thing. And I'm going to select all of this right now. And I'm going to just do this for the time being, just to make it all the same point size and color. 15 million babies. This is not as important as the title. So this needs to be smaller in its point size. Would you agree?
The 15 million babies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Usually I try to set you up for victory.
No, I know.
No,
I
you
was
have
just
to
thinking
do-
that.
You just got to cross the finish line there.
I'm just feeling that 50 million babies. That's showing you how much we're talking about.
It's
so
a
it should
subtitle.
Correct.
Got it.
First, everybody pay attention. There is a premature birth crisis. Why? Well, because 15 million babies are born too soon every year.
Oh. I see.
Right?
Yes.
It's something like that. It is a subtitle, I think.
Yeah.
And I want greater contrast between these two things, so I'm going to do Command Shift greater than. And when you make that bigger, you're going to have to increase the leading. So that's Option down arrow. Just doing it visually right now. Okay.
Are we going to keep it centered or?
For now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a centered layout.
Let's do it.
Okay. Is that okay to read?
Yeah, it is.
So why is 15 million capitalized? Because maybe this is a sentence. I don't know. Do we need to do 15 million or do we do 15M? These are decisions you guys get to make.
Let's keep the million.
Do we have consensus on that?
People?
Yeah?
People.
Yeah.
You need that? Okay.
All right.
All right. So far, so good. Let's just clean it up a little bit. This is annoyingly big, so let's not even make that big. So Command Option 3 will bring this back, and so I'll bring this up. How does that feel now?
Better.
Better, right?
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah,
look
I
at
think if
before.
you're going to show the whole map, just don't cover Australia. I mean, even if they don't have a high, it just needs, for me, it needs to be there.
Yeah. So here's what you're doing is you're making a staggered presentation. First you tell us what the big problem is, 15 million birth crisis, or premature birth crisis. Then you give us a little more detailed information. 15 million babies born too soon. So the next graphic is related to this. So they need to be closer together. If they were farther apart, I wouldn't make that connection, right?
Yeah,
So
true.
now we bring this in here.
People are still freaking out about the color. Make it darker, maybe.
Let them freak out. It's okay.
Okay.
All right? It's okay. All right, so now we would then need to do something about this. I'm not going to have the time to figure that out. It's a whole problem to resolve, but I just wanted to clean that up just a little bit. So now we get into all this other information, and what's happening here is there's this crazy rag that's going in, out, in, out. It's all over the place,
Yeah.
and it makes it very hard for me to find the corner point in which to read the sentence. And when you do that, you're just going to make me tired. I get fatigued. I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
So this is where you want to get into designing this a little bit.
I agree.
So premature births kill one baby every 30 seconds. So there's this thing of time. One baby every 30 seconds.
So how do we show that?
So it's half a minute, right? I don't know. I mean, this is a very dark subject matter, and I like that you're using these kind of blue and pink colors, but you can juxtapose the very familiar color palette with some darker imagery. I don't know. We need to work on this. I can't solve the problem here on air in 1 minute, 5 minutes, or whatever. So this is what we don't want to do, you guys. We don't want to do a pie chart. We don't want to do a pie chart. So these are killers. Malaria, mosquitoes, AIDS. I don't know what the symbol for AIDS is. What's the symbol for AIDS?
Is there a symbol for AIDS?
There's this thing called the internet. You can look it up.
Okay, all right.
Because I'm running the...
I never heard
you
of that.
know,
Yeah,
symbol for
must be
AIDS. I don't
new.
know. And diarrhea. I didn't know
the
diarrhea
internet.
killed so many kids. Oh my gosh, that's a real problem. Wow.
Well, when they're malnourished.
This one's not about... This is a premature birth. The
Oh, got
malnourished
it,
one
got
was the
it.
other poster.
Okay.
You're blending all the projects
getting it.
together, Molly. So you know what we could do, though? I'm just going to show you how to create a little bit more visual hierarchy.
Okay.
We could do some kind of block of information here. Let's just say it's like that. So now I get some separation from that, and so it allows me to process this next bit of information. Okay?
They're asking why no pie chart.
Well, that's the whole point of being an information graphic designer. Everybody can make a pie chart. Everybody uses Excel. So you're supposed to make the information visual. Visual. So get more creative with charts. Okay, let's look on the internet then. What should we look for? Molly?
Well, I looked up the 8 symbol. It's just a...
Okay, fine. I'm on to a different subject already.
Oh, got it. Okay.
We're looking for really clever ways to represent information or data. What should we search? Tell me. I'll type it in. Just tell me anything.
I'm information, data, visualization.
Okay. What information, data, visualization?
No, forget the information part. Just data visualization.
Let's see what people do. Okay. So these are generic charts, things like that. You guys, if you see anything that's like singing or screaming at you, let me know. Okay, I thought of an idea.
Okay.
Let's just be really dumb.
Yeah.
Sometimes being dumb works.
Okay.
So you got to use that to your strength, to your advantage.
Let's
Okay?
do it.
Creative ways not to use pie chart. Let's get lucky. I don't know if this is going to work. What do you guys think?
I'll look it up.
No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just,
All right,
Molly,
all right.
stay with me. People always want to know why I get angry. It's like, just stay with me.
No, I'm saying you look that up on
No,
Google. I'll do my thing too.
No, you won't tell me what to do. Molly, I'm asking you, what do you think? What's our luck on this search word? Do you have confidence that this is going to
I don't
give us the
have,
result
my
that we
confidence
like?
is not that high.
Low confidence.
Low
John,
confidence.
Low. Okay, you guys don't believe in it. Let's try. Oh, yeah. You guys are right. Look at that. What's this? Haha. Ye of little faith.
Oh yeah, there's a whole book about
Hold on.
that stuff.
Now you're going to cut me off again?
Oh my god, I'm not.
Oh, my God. Look, you guys had no faith, right? Creative ways to show pie chart, and I just quickly scanned this. They're all ugly except for this one. Now, I didn't even know what this one is, but it looks so different than the others that I have to click on it. And look at this. So what they did was they took the old boring pie chart and they turned it into an onion or fruit and nuts, and they broke it relatively like 51%, so that's like 51% of the peach or whatever that is. Kind of interesting. Look at the fish. There's a whole book on this too, right, Molly?
Yeah, there
And
is.
here's the cool thing. If we think this is a path worth pursuing, I would like to click on View More. And do we get anything else?
No.
Yeah, there's
there's some
pretty
things.
horrible stuff there.
Well, a real pie chart. Internet's having fun with us. Okay.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah.
But on our topic, we're talking about diarrhea aids. What else is in that chart? This is going to be hard to visualize.
No. Hold on. You're jumping to the end. Stay with me, Molly.
Okay.
I'm trying to show people how to search here, okay? So I went from this, I went to View More. View More didn't work, but I did then go back on this. And it's actually an article written, How Not to Use Pie, Bar, and Line Charts in Marketing.
Wow.
So look at this. Maybe there are more here. Aliens, Prometheus, the rate of survival. This is pretty funny. Okay, so this is kind of taking a lineup here and showing how people are dying in these films. And sometimes this can give you something and sometimes it won't. There's another way to search here is if you look at the words here, sometimes these words are like, oh, that's what I need to search instead of what I typed in. I'm just trying to show you how to find stuff on the internet. Don't try to be too clever. You're just trying to be too clever. All right. Anyways, so you guys, if you dig a little deeper, maybe you'll find a cool way to represent the information without showing a pie chart. Because that's the most boring way to do it. Right?
Yes.
Okay. What else? Now, Molly's like, well, how do you show diarrhea? That's horrible. Well, this is about death. You just show death.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe somebody's just really sick. I don't know how to show it yet. What we want to do is not to say, well, because it's difficult, we should avoid it. We can solve difficult problems. We just need to invest the time in exploring it and then before we give up. All right. Having said that, I'm going to give up. No, I just want to make one last little comment here. All right, you see these icons here?
Yeah.
So some of these are what you would call monoline icons, single line, single stroke weight, like these ones right here, sort of. And then this is different. This is a pictogram. So we need to be consistent with our visual iconography. And not only this, these have two weights.
Yeah.
And they're not consistent
Yeah.
across them. So this is like somebody jumping on the internet, just finding clip art and just dropping it in. That bothers me. You should have these all the same weight or drawn in the same style. You can go on many different stock photography sites and find vector art and buy a pack of 200 of them, modify them to your needs, and then you would come up with this. And they're fairly inexpensive. Super inexpensive.
Yeah.
So that's a problem for me. They're
Yeah.
all over the place. So you're using the pictogram. I love this baby thing. I think that could be much more interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this, guys. I have an idea. You guys ready for an idea?
I'm ready. I want to see something.
Yeah, I'll bet you just cut me off first. Go ahead, cut me off.
Your ideas.
Hold on. I got an idea. Look at this.
What's your idea?
My idea is to use the baby. And you guys, we're designing on the fly here. So if I crash and burn, rejoice
I
at my
will.
inability
I
to
will
solve problems
rejoice.
visually. Right?
It'll be a happy
will-
day for me. I can go home smiling.
All right. So this is about what? Premature birth crisis?
Yeah.
So here's a baby. Shouldn't we use a baby in a premature birth crisis?
We should.
Right. So couldn't we represent the mortality of this baby and cut this baby up like this?
Yes.
Maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one way to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'll do it a really sloppy way right now
Okay.
because I don't have time to do this, and we're almost at the end of the show. I'm getting hungry too. All those reasons there. So I'm going to create a white box on top, get rid of the stroke, okay? And then I'm going to make this somewhat transparent.
Oh, I see where you're going.
See, you always see where I'm going, Molly. Sort of.
Hey, I'm not Aaron, okay?
25%. You are not Aaron.
I see it
You
from
see
the
it
beginning,
before.
not all the way at the end.
Yeah, so maybe this could be something where we just overlap shapes at different levels of transparency. So maybe this is, I don't know, 50%. It might not work.
It's gonna work.
Is it?
Yes.
And then maybe this is 75%.
It beats the pie chart.
Sure does.
I'm just trying to avoid the pie chart, right?
Right, yeah.
You guys know what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Creative solutions.
It's a little sloppy here, guys. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the baby will get progressively, the baby will disappear.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is like 90% now. And this is who kills him. So I think it was AIDS is the least, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to use upper lowercase, guys. AIDS, and the next up is probably malaria. And then diarrhea is a big killer.
Yeah.
And then lastly, premature.
That's the big one.
Premature birth. Then what I can do here is go hit on option. That's going to take too long. Let me go bring up my type tools here. And can I use a slider? No. Maybe 130. And then get these to line up. Now, of course, I have a problem here because the premature is on 2 lines. Okay. Now, this type point size is a little bit big for this whole thing. And when we're designing something, we want a big image next to some tiny detailed type. It creates a nice balance between those two, so I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the proportions of this is all wrong. They're not lining up, but I think you guys get the idea. We have a little bit of a problem here, a visual problem. Premature birth is really long in its letter count, and then
Yeah.
AIDS is really short. So it doesn't look visually good next to each other like that.
Yeah.
So the one way you solve that is use rules. So the rules I'm talking about is to use a line that is as long as the longest word. And then I'm going to make this line pink. So I use the eyedropper tool. I'll pick this thing and then shift the colors like that. I will bump up the stroke weight. And now that I know my new tool, something like that. So far so good?
Yes.
Okay. Now here's a trick I'm going to show you guys. If I select this type and hit Command T, it'll bring up this thing. It's 189 points. I'm just going to make 190
Wow.
just because I
This
want
is
it to be
a big
90.
poster.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 190 points. So if I take this and I use the move tool and I hit return, it'll give me a pop-up to precisely move this a certain distance. Molly, you know where I'm going with this? I want to move it horizontally 0, and I want to move it minus 190 points. I'm going to hit preview. It's supposed to be 190 plus points. That's why I hit preview. And then I'm going to hit copy. And then I can hit Command D.
Oh.
So that way they're lined up exactly like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm looking at this and it looks a little funny. It's too far out. So, okay, come on. Just with me. Okay.
Okay.
So then by adding this rule, this line, I'm going to group that right now. I'm going to give it some similar weight. Each one has a similar weight. And we can play around with this. We can offset a little bit more if we want. Like that.
Yeah.
And that'll kind of anchor them together.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
Cool.
you use rules, okay?
Yeah.
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 Or we can break this line up differently so that
it's 2 lines.
it's 2 lines and that's okay too.
Cool.
More children die. Okay? And that's one way to represent that. So the rest of this thing needs to be cleaned up. I'm just going to move it over here. Is it coming together?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And for Erica's sake, you know, because she doesn't want everything to be centered, and neither do I necessarily.
That's
right? I can just design blocks of information here and start to fill this thing out. Maybe this is a lighter color pink. Whatever. Like that. Maybe this doesn't need to be a shape like this. Maybe it's like this. We can bring in some kind of icons there so we can break up how centered this thing looks. So if you design each one of these things as a section like a website, it'll be a lot easier for you to work.
Yeah.
So this is just representing some kind of graphic or text or something like that.
Cool.
Oh, somebody pointed out that AIDS is an acronym and should be
Acquired
capitalized.
Oh, okay.
Like all caps.
Yeah, I
how
see.
It is.
Okay. I thought they wanted me to write it out.
No, just all caps.
Okay. Internet is policing us. Boom.
Yes, they are.
Okay, it looks better anyways. Now, maybe the weight of this is a little light. Maybe we need to change that to something that's a little bit bolder. How does that feel?
Yeah.
Could
Yeah.
you zoom out?
Yeah, I'll zoom out in 1 second.
Okay.
I want to delete that. I want to draw a little text box here. And that's too big, so I want to do like 12-point type. Let me delete that again. Draw a box here. How come it's not filling up? Oh, I know why. This is auto. There we go. So I'm going to do Command-Shift-L. I'm going to change this back to thin. I want some mouse type in here. Try and make this look a little bit more like a real poster,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
This is too big. This is too much copy. That's interesting that it's hanging out. So we know that this is 190 points apart. So I'm going to go to my move tool again, hit return, and hit 190 points. That's the cool thing. Like once you know the unit of measure, is it starting to look a little bit more official now?
A lot more.
Just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the information is going to be. I'm just kind of blocking things out.
No, just getting the overall feel, right now is so much better than the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't love this part just yet because it's making it really blocky. And maybe this is really not like the right vibe. So maybe it needed to be like a circle or something to echo the shape of the head. I don't know. Get a vibe going.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
like
I want to
it.
wrap up this critique here. We cannot, honestly, in all seriousness, we cannot design a poster like this and translate all these graphics without fully comprehending the problem and doing our proper research. We probably do a ton of sketches. Those are probably things that you did in school, right, Molly?
Yeah. That's what we had to do.
You try
first.
out different ways of communicating the same thing.
Yes.
And I would suggest that you do 2 or 3 versions of each piece of information until you settle in and figure out like this is the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Great.
Okay. We're probably gonna go to lunch soon.
Yeah.
So let's just have a little convo with John, and then we can wrap out.
Yes, John.
John,
Yes.
how are you?
Doing fine.
You feeling good?
Feeling great.
Good.
Okay. All right.
What
What else are we doing here? What is the internet saying? Where's Aaron? Aaron's not here. We killed Aaron.
I killed Aaron and took his place.
Aaron's dead. So there's no job security here.
People are
If you
killing
can't
people
cut it,
left
you're
and
gone.
right.
Yeah, no, Aaron is better suited. Actually, right now, he's busy cutting a bunch of things and he's shooting some new footage because we're always trying to create more content for you
Yes,
guys.
we are. Cool.
Okay. What do you guys want to know? I'm going to start reading comments here. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of comments.
There is.
Look at it. It's animated by itself. Look at this.
Did you learn something new on infographics today, John? Did you know all that before already?
I knew a little bit, but some of the stuff like Chris taking that pie chart and pulling it out and replacing it with the baby and coming up with a solution that fast was pretty impressive.
I know. He has a quick mind.
He really does.
For those creative solutions.
And a quick temper.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
it all evens out.
Does it?
I think so.
Okay.
I know
You
he
say
has.
so. You say so.
I feel he has a good heart.
He does have a good heart. Thanks, Chris.
Hey, you're welcome. Okay, so now I'm caught up with the 3,000 comments that are coming in here.
All right.
They're all over the place. Molly, why don't you scan Facebook? John, you have a laptop in front of you too.
Yeah.
You
I'm
can
not
scan
sure if
stuff.
it's
I'm
on or
scanning
not.
Oh, it's not
Facebook
even
right
on?
now. It is.
Okay, there you go.
Just gonna log
Let's
in.
read some comments, you guys. We're talking to you right now. It is Friday. We have another few minutes here, like another 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're done. Molly, do you have the outro graphic, or am I playing the outro graphic?
I have it, or you can actually you play it.
Okay, so let me get that ready. Okay. Or let's talk to you guys. World tour. What's up with the world tour? Yeah, let me answer that question from Lloyd. So we're going to be going to Europe in March, early March. We're going to go to London and Edinburgh. I think that's how you say it, even though it's spelled Edinburgh, somebody said. And then the rest of it's kind of up in the air. I just got off the phone with Eugene this morning, and he was telling me that he's got a whole bunch of other cities lined up, and nothing has booked, nothing's confirmed yet, but I would love to come see you.
Mm-hmm. I want to go too. Sounds
Let's
like
see
fun.
what's in the budget. Yeah, it sounds really fun for a budget of one.
No, travel is not fun.
I love traveling. You
I
don't travel,
love
John?
traveling. It's my favorite thing.
Well, the past couple of years I've been doing conventions, and some of them stack up 8, 9 in a row.
Oh, okay.
Weekend after weekend. You see you take the Uber out to the airport, you get on the plane. I'm flying from Daytona, very small airport, so I have to stop in Atlanta, get my connection.
That's like work.
It is work.
You're like a traveling salesman. You're
Right.
selling yourself,
And then-
who you are, your brand.
Exactly.
And your art.
And I get a ride to the hotel, check
Yep.
in, go to the convention center, work my butt off there,
Yep.
meet and greet people.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Are you
get-
carrying around a big luggage case with all your art?
Yeah.
Yeah, and your supplies.
Yeah.
Is that a check-in kind of item?
Actually, with my medallion status on Delta right now, I get 2 free check bags. So I've been lucky that I haven't had to pay a baggage fee this year.
Mm-hmm.
But
Who pays for your flight and your hotel?
the shows,
The shows.
yeah.
They invite you out, they pay for it?
hmm
And how long you been a comic book artist, professionally speaking?
I started working for Marvel in DC in 1980 when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
So I'm a bit older than you, Chris.
I'm going to do the math in a little bit.
56.
Really?
Yeah.
You look good, man.
Well,
You look good.
I could look
56.
My-
We could all look better.
my hair went gray, you know.
Well, you still have hair, so,
Well,
choose your
but
poison.
It's a good thing. You have a good head for a bald man. I don't. I know that for a fact.
Got
you
a nice
tried?
shape.
Huh? Oh
Have you
yeah,
tried?
I've had like the onion head. If you real.
Oh,
real
oh,
short.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you mean now.
And I actually did that. It's online.
It's almost like you can see your brain, right?
Well, the comic artist John Byrne.
I do.
Okay. He lived in Connecticut. That's where I used to go. Mike Zeck used to live up there, and I would go once in the winter and once in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Mike was like my mentor when I was a kid. He saw potential in what I did, and he knew he could help me develop into an inker that would understand how to embellish his work best. So he took me under his wing,
Mm-hmm.
and we've done a lot of work together. Together, in fact, you have his IDW book, The Art of the Marvel.
Oh, you saw my books
Yeah.
back there, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll
I
put a
love those.
signature in there for you.
All right.
And
I love that.
So I kind of get off track now. So 1980, I turned 56 this past May.
Yeah.
And I don't know where those 30 years went because they go by fast.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone out
Are
there?
you married?
I just married for the first time in 2008.
Okay.
Had my first son when I was 51.
Oh
He's-
my gosh.
Never had a child before. This is all new to me. And so I went from comic book inking, then
Mhm.
I transitioned into, like I had mentioned before, to DC and Warner Brothers style guides. Some of it was movie related, some of it was just the animated shows. Mostly I did vector inking and coloring, some background work and stuff. And vendors would buy these, so they had, work that came from professional artists that worked for DC, and whatever they do with it is up to them.
Mm-hmm.
You might see it on kids' party packaging, toy stuff, cards, gift cards, whatever.
Right.
And that lasted for about 7 years, and then they outsourced everything to a studio.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've just been trying to find my way around getting into design.
Well, I got a bunch of questions for you.
Okay.
So let me go. You guys, we're going to transition really hard right now into the comic book career because in a different life,
Let's do it.
I would be sitting there with John and talking to somebody else in the booth here, right? But
I would be in the booth.
You would be in the booth and
Yeah.
I'd be you. Okay. A couple of questions for you is I've always wondered this because I'm a big advocate for tracing to learn how to draw. Tracing to learn how to draw logos and everything in life. Like learn from the masters. It's sometimes boring and tedious work, and it takes a lot, like a meticulous attention to detail to be able to do it the right way. Now, as a person who's inked for so many years, how's your drawing skill?
Pretty good.
Could you just, why not become a penciler yourself and just draw and ink your own work?
Well, here's the thing. Back when I got in 1980, there was still more of that production line assembly type thing. So it was more valuable to specialize in one skill. And kind of like how you say now, pick one, don't say you're a jack of all trades, pick one.
Right.
So people saw more potential in my inking work than they did in my penciling work. So I concentrated on the inking of other people's pencils and bringing something besides just a tracer quote to the table.
Right.
Embellishment skills.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, a lot of pencilers pencil so tight, like every line is there.
Right.
It's senseless to try to ink it. It's just
Really?
yeah. I mean, it's
oh,
insane.
wait, hold on. Are you then saying that the people who do really tight pencils, and I've seen those, they just digitally ink them by turning the contrast up?
Some of them, yeah.
I hate that, though, I got to say.
Well, a lot of people do because they still.
I'm one of them.
Well, and, what happened first is, when computers came about, the lettering began to be computerized lettering and then put on the board. So people that bought original artwork, they missed the lettering because it's an art on the page too.
Right.
And I've worked with, people that have lettered comics that I worked on. I've worked with some incredible letterers. When I would get the pages to ink, I would look at their calligraphy. Every story has a title, so they have to come up with some unique title for the story.
Right.
And Todd Klein, who is one of the guys that lettered a lot of, if not all, the Batman work I did with Doug Minch and Kelly Jones. He's won so many awards for Best Letter of the Year or Best Letter for whatever. He's just an amazing letter artist. And he's done logo designs for comic books. Every story title, like I said, it's just not a font in there. It's actually hand lettered. Well, now it's probably a font.
Right.
But when I was doing the Batman stuff, I would get these beautiful, title type illustrations that.
Let me rein you back in. I need to rein you back in because we're bouncing all over to typefaces and all that kind of stuff. I just want to say, as a comic book aficionado, connoisseur of comic books, there are certain things like when you look at the old original pages from Jack Kirby in that era, you would see paste up, glue, cut out things, and white out. I love all that stuff. Now, that's out of my price range, and it does somewhat break my heart today that everything's digital. I understand the need to be able to create more stuff at a more affordable price. I get that. And to some extent, the end product, you can't tell the difference now because they actually take the handwriting and turn it into a typeface, and it's done really beautifully. But when they go and do this digital inking thing, when they convert a pencil into line art, I can see all like the jaggy lines. I can see all that, and that bugs me because I love the purity, the beautiful stroke work, the tapering brushes and all that kind of stuff. To me, that's the art too.
Right.
And I don't want to see any of that ever replaced. I don't think it can be replaced. And I know that they did that to save money to a degree. But I also think there's this art and interpretation that if you ever look at some rough pencils and then you see the ink page, the inker is making decisions about how to crosshatch, how to represent that thing, and how to make the image pop, background effects. They're making a lot of decisions on lighting, especially if the pencil work, if they've been working with an inker for a really long time. They don't literally draw everything. They just draw some shapes, and you as the inker will make some determinations as to how to feather or not based on the style that you guys have developed together.
Right.
I don't ever want to see that go away.
Well, It's happening though.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, I won't buy those books. I will boycott it. And I do believe, like, how you spend your money is how you vote. If you want to see more of something, you spend money on it. So this is just like a little small departure here.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a really, really crappy film based on a property I love, I will not go. And it pains me not to go. So if there's some Marvel or DC film that everybody's like, oh, that was bad, Rotten Tomatoes giving it 15 score, and even though I'm just the biggest nerd diehard fan, I won't go. And my wife will say, what are you doing? I'm like, honey, you got to live and die by your principles. I cannot support this piece of trash film because it will encourage Hollywood and studios to make more films just like this.
Yeah.
That's it. So if you guys see crappy comic books, movies, entertainment books, or YouTube channels, just saying, you vote by your eyeballs, you vote with your money, you vote by being engaged and commenting on our show like ours. So I don't want to see what you do go away.
Also, in the change of the business, though, it's. I was telling Ben earlier when we were speaking that when I got in, there was a necessity that they wanted to see a writer, a penciler, an inker get on a book and stay on it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, because you develop that synergy between the three,
Right.
and the fans, they expect to see that same creative team every month. And if they,
I got a crazy idea, John.
okay,
As you're talking about this, I got a crazy idea. I want to put you on the spot.
Mhm.
Can you do an original illustration for us right now, and we'll give it away to our fans?
I can try.
Let's do it. Okay.
Okay, how
This
do
is
we do
awesome.
this?
Okay, everybody on the internet,
All
we want to
right.
put John on the spot. John, do you have any tools, or do you need some tools from me?
I left mine back at the hotel.
Okay, I have some tools.
Yeah.
We'll work this out. Okay.
Let's do
Here's what we're
this.
gonna do. You guys type in right now, within reason, who your favorite. Can we do Marvel or DC? You want to pick one or the other?
We'll just see.
Marvel. Hey, I'm gonna decide right now. You guys type in who your favorite Marvel superhero is. Could be a man or a woman. Type it in right now. Whatever we see the most of, John will do that. I'm gonna get one of those. Molly, you go grab one of those future alternate prints. John will just draw right over it.
Okay.
I think it's gonna look super hot.
Yeah.
It's gonna look super hot. Okay, so Erica, now you have to fill dead air because we're all gonna just split.
Hold on.
All right, here we go. The comments are coming in.
Everybody leave
Everybody,
me.
just chill out. We're gonna be right back. This is gonna be so fun.
So hey,
Okay, so let's get rid of his laptop. I'll give you some markers.
what's up, you cool people? So John,
Yes.
do you have any personal work? Do you ever do anything just for yourself?
I try to, but usually when I'm doing that work, I start feeling guilty that I should be doing work that is paying work. And I know that's like, it's really weird, but I have a lot of friends, and I've asked them, do you keep a sketchbook? And they're like, no, I don't draw
Really?
unless I get paid for. Yeah, it sort of becomes a job, just
Oh,
like
it
anything.
That's it. It's just drawing is the job, and you just don't draw for yourself anymore.
Pretty much. And it's a shame. I mean, I really don't like to say that, but I don't want to lie either, but through my son, I see him sit down, or he'll hand me a piece of paper and he'll say, draw something, Daddy. And I'll like, what? He goes, whatever you want. And then I'll start, of course, to draw something. He'll goes, that's all wrong. He hands me another piece of paper, and I'm like, well, what do you want to see me draw? Whatever you want. I'll start with some lines. That's all wrong. So I it's kind of fun. It's a game.
So he's art directing.
Yes,
you.
he is. And it started when he was younger. The little the boards that have the pen that's operated by I think it's a magnetic thing, and then you do it to swipe and it's gone.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
He started out that way. Like he would bring it to me, and Daddy draw me something, and I would start to do a circle for a head or something, and he was like, no, that's wrong. And I'm like, but Jacob, I just started. It's wrong. Start again. And he would erase it.
It's kind of like a teacher telling you, nope, try it again. Nope. Then
Yeah,
they just mark it all up.
He was Chris Doing me.
So, either draw over this
Mhm.
or on the back.
I'll draw over the front of the poster.
Okay.
Maybe fit a little remark type
Yeah.
style in here somewhere.
Cool.
Yes,
We don't have great supplies.
that's fine.
Basically, I have a couple of different markers here.
Whatever you had the other when you were doing your
This is-
storyboard and stuff. Yeah.
That's what I have.
Etch-a-sketch.
Okay, so we are drawing over this
Do you need any other
poster.
tools?
You got a pencil?
Yes, pencil.
Just so I can lightly. What do we got here? Okay, I've never tried one of these Crayolas. I saw you working with this the other night.
Apparently, letterers use that.
Yeah, that's.
These, what do you usually use to ink?
At conventions, I use Kurosaki brush markers,
Okay.
and they do a really good job. And this one is a Tombow, and the thing about these is they take a long time to dry. They are very smeary. I've used them before, and you know the ink kind of lays on the paper a little bit, so you really gotta let it soak in.
So I have this in case you want to test the viability of the markers, right?
Okay.
We'll get you whatever you need.
All right.
Within reason, because usually I travel with my bag of markers and they're at home.
I usually carry mine, but it gets heavy
Yeah.
because I got a
See, so
ton of
usually I'll
stuff,
have
you
it, but I
know.
don't. Okay, let's find out what he's gonna draw.
One
All right, we're
person
back.
saying Joker.
We are back. Let's see what.
The Joker is DC, not Marvel.
Okay, let's see what they got here. Wolverine, Hulk, Deadpool, Harley
like
Quinn.
Deadpool.
That's DC. Deadpool. Seen a lot of Deadpool here, you guys.
Yeah,
Black
Deadpool-
Widow, Spider-Man.
Deadpool's kind of easy, you know. It's
He is kind of easy.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing. Come on, guys. Ghost Rider. Ooh, Galactus. Somebody has a crush on Molly. Get over it, guys.
yeah.
Aaron is the Silver Surfer. Spider-Man, Deadpool.
Seems
Iron Man,
Deadpool's
Deadpool, Spider-Man,
Venom.
Charles Xavier, Deadpool.
Wolverine.
Okay, it does seem like it's going to be Deadpool. Are you okay
Yeah.
with doing Deadpool?
Yeah.
All right. John's going to rock out a Deadpool, you guys. After this, we are going to give away the poster to a sustaining member, but not on the show. We'll do it another time. So, John, you rock it, you draw, and I will read comments while you're doing this.
All right.
So, first of all, I got to thank John for kind of just being on the spot and just being willing to roll with us, guys. And if you guys want to see him, he's going to be at the Stanley Comic Con. Where is that, John?
It's at the Los Angeles Convention Center.
Oh, LA Convention Center.
Yeah.
Great, and I'll be there.
Yep.
I'm going to bring my boy and
Yep.
a couple of people from the office with me.
In fact,
I think.
My son Jacob, I showed him your son Matthias's YouTube channel. He watched everyone. He goes, I want to see it again, and he asked me, Daddy, can you do that for me? Like he wanted
Just
to.
set it up?
He wanted to do his own video.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking, you guys? Here's what I'm thinking. Soon we're going to be producing videos for young people to create YouTube videos. Because I told a fellow parent about what Matthias is doing, and Matthias is 11. Your boy's younger than that.
Yeah, he'll be 5 December 7th.
So that's great. He's getting a jump start, and he has a master teacher who actually knows how to draw versus me. But I tell other parents, like, wow, our son has a GoPro, and they have all these toys, but we don't know what to do with it because we're kind of computer illiterate, and we don't make videos for a living. So I was thinking we should have a workshop here at the studio on a weekend and invite a bunch of crazy teenagers and have them sit down and show them how to make video, how to shoot, how to produce, how to do the SEO, how to title, how to upload, how to create a logo for their channel, all that kind of stuff. Now, what Matthias is doing is he's hustling. He is hustling because he came up with the names for all of his friends, their own YouTube channels. And he's helping them to design a logo. So his name is Bear Battles with a Z, Bear Battles, right?
And he's
And
really
then-
good.
And then his friends, he's like, you're Jazzy Jaguar. He's got this whole alliteration comic book thing going. So it's hilarious. So he's helping all his friends set up their channels with their logos. And it's kind of interesting for me as a dad to watch how resourceful the kids are because they'll download templates, they'll download free music available. They do all this kind of stuff, and that's how he's creating. It's a little cheesy. A little cheesy if you're asking me, but he didn't get all the good taste in the family, so we shall see what he comes up with. But I love to see him just doing stuff. And I did 3 videos with him, meaning I set up the camera, I showed him how to use a bounce light, putting the rig next to a window that gets good light. And then one day, to my surprise, he did it on his own. He posted a channel, and I got an alert notification. And immediately I thought, my wife helped him. Jessie helped him. And I came home, I asked her, so you helped him, huh? She goes, nope. He just grabbed my phone, he did it himself, he transferred the files, he opened it up in iMovie, edited it,
Aw.
and he put it out.
How
Yeah.
old is he?
He's 11.
He's amazing.
He's a little dude.
He is, yeah.
He's a little runt, though. I give him a hard time. Like, have you done your 10 push-ups today? He goes, no. I stopped doing it, and I got weak. I'm like, well, that's what happens if you don't do your push-ups. Come on.
I got
do it.
weak.
I got weak. All right. I guess I can't see any more older comments because you guys blanketed out the comments with Wolverine and Deadpool. Okay. Let's get back on topic here, you guys.
Aaron's going to help us.
Suzanne says, love this. So much fun to see this, you guys. Those of you guys that are tuning in live, this is all kind of unscripted. We're having fun with you guys. It's a Friday, and I'm going to do my best to fill dead air so that John... Oh, okay. We got Aaron in.
We got Aaron
Aaron's
in,
going to adjust
adjusting
the camera.
All
right. Oh, this is so good.
Yes.
Oh, my God, it's so good. Oh, I'm going to try and contain myself here. This is what I wanted to do for you guys, but I suck.
No, are you kidding me, Chris? You should do it.
No. This is like once John does this, I can't do it. The bar's been raised, and I'm done. Don't spill water on that laptop. Who's got water on laptop? Somebody's warning you guys.
Yeah, I know. I saw.
Okay. My kids would love that, Chris Tucker.
Okay, let's see.
I'll keep reading comments, guys. He's
So we're
rocking
doing Deadpool. Is that what this is?
the old number 2 pencil.
Cool. Aaron, they miss you.
Bear Battles, you guys. That's my boy. He's got 193 followers or subscribers on his channel. And
who does?
Those of you guys that don't know, those of you guys that don't follow me on Facebook, I want to tell you a little story while John's drawing here.
Tell me a story.
The story is this, is my boy's getting a few people becoming subscribers or followers on his channel. He's got about 30, and they're all his friends, of course, and they create fake accounts to follow each other. It's hilarious. It's the 11-year-old mob. This is what they do on YouTube now. And he says, Dad, can you mention on your social media my channel? I said, yeah, I can do that for you, boy. But, I don't come cheap. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I can't just exploit my followers just for you. I mean, you have to do something really cool, and what are you going to do for me? He goes, I'll pay you. I'm like, okay, money talks. Let's do a deal. And we started negotiating. And I said, how much will you give me for one new follower? Excuse me. How much will you give me for one new follower? We thought about it a little bit. He said 1 cent. I'm like, nah, that's not going to do anything for me. You got to sweeten the pot a little bit, boy. How about $1? And he's like, he thought about it. He said, hey, he has some Christmas money. He's got some birthday money saved up. He's got some grandma money.
So $1 for each follower.
$1 for each follower. And I said, okay, $1 for a follower. Let's do that. And we made a deal. Little does he know, Dad has a little bit of a following, a small following that I can leverage. So I post on Facebook. And I say, hey guys, my kid's got a new channel. Those of you guys that like this, please follow him. And they did. And so he came home. He's super excited. It's like, Daddy, I got to 100, and I got to 110, I got to 120. And then panic set in his eyes. He's like, oh no. I said,
owe
so
you.
now you owe me like $200, whatever number of followers you got now. So $126. And he freaked out. He's like, no, that's too much. I don't have any money. I'm broke. How can I do this, Dad? You're going to take all my money. So, well, that's the way it is. A man honors his word. A Lannister always pays his debts. I know we're not Lannisters, we're Does, but we too pay all our debts. The Does always pay their debts. We can't welch out on a promise like this. We just can't. You gotta fulfill your promise.
Chris, will you be my dad? Daniel
and now he's
asks.
so depressed. And I told him, look, it's okay. You pay me. I'm gonna teach you how to get money from Grandma. You take money from Grandma, you give it to me.
Wow, Chris.
Because he's a little baby.
So sweet.
I am so sweet. So here's the rest of the story while John's drawing here. John's doing
I hope
an
your
awesome
mom's
job.
watching.
My mom does watch this channel. She probably won't watch it this far
Grandma.
in, so it's totally okay. So I said, here's what we're going to do. I said, Grandma gives you money for getting good grades and being a good boy. So here's what you do. I want you to focus up on school and get really good grades. And then I want you to run up to her and I want you to show her your report card. And I want you to say something like this. Grandma, did you see the grades I got? Are you proud of me, Grandma? This is how we scaffold towards the sale or the ask. You get a little bit of commitment up front. Like, you're proud of me, you like good grades, and all grandmas want to see this. Yeah, I am. So would you like to support this kind of effort and endeavors in the future? Would you like to encourage me to continue to work hard in school so I can get good grades? And you know what would do that
Yeah.
is you can find a financial reward attached to each grade that I got. So I taught him how to talk to grandma and pitch it to her. And I said, it actually doesn't really matter the words you say. But if you use a more sophisticated vocabulary, I think grandma will give you extra bonus points. But all you have to do is look up at her with your big eyes and just say it with a big smile. And her heart will melt and the money will just pour out.
Wow.
So, boy, do you understand that? He says, yes, I do. So now go get Dad his money. Go give me my money.
Did
Look at that.
he get you?
We're working on that.
All right.
We're working on that. There it is. There's a little Deadpool. Aaron, can
There
we get
it
a shot
is.
of that?
Quick
Oh,
Hold it-
Aaron
hold it
is
up.
Gone.
Please.
Aaron's
Hold on.
gone.
Oh, hold it up. There you go.
There we go.
That is
So cool.
That is really cool.
Awesome.
Awesome job. Wow.
So awesome.
That is so cool, you guys.
Thank
okay,
you
so
so
one
much.
lucky duck is going to get this.
Maybe I'll
One
do a few more
sustaining
later.
member.
Yeah? That would be awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. People are loving the story. Oh my gosh, I know I'm a horrible father. I get it. Parent goals, I get it.
Was he even happy about the followers still?
He's still so happy now. And
Okay.
we resolved this. So there's a happy story to this.
Okay.
I said, because he was just really like all messed up over this, paying me whatever amount of money. Because it just keeps growing every single day.
I know.
So every day I would come up to him, it's like, how much money you owe me now? Oh, Dad. And my wife's like, are you going to let him go of the debt? I mean, are you going to take money from your son? And I
you're
looked
like,
her right in the
yes.
eye. It's like, what kind of father would I be? What kind of lesson would I be sending to him to forgive him for his debt because he made a bad deal? He underestimated the power of social media. So I'll tell you, I'll wrap up this segment really soon. And this is what I'm going to tell you guys.
Tell us.
I said, well, I can't let him off the debt. And he's like, well, I don't want the followers then. Forget it. Really? You don't want the followers? I said, well, I'm going to tell my followers to unfollow you. Derek, they wouldn't do that. I'm a kid. They would not do that. An innocent child? I'm like, you're not that innocent. You broke a deal with your father. I said, you know what? I will post this, and let's see if they will unfollow you. I said, I will post, guys, I'm trying to teach Matthias a lesson. He backed out on a deal. I need you guys to all unfollow him until he lives up to his end of the bargain. Then you can follow him back again. And then he like panic set in his eyes, and he knew that they would do that to teach an innocent kid a valuable life lesson. So finally, we resolved it. I said, look, from here on out, you're going to get 10, 20, 30, 100 more followers. I don't want to take all of your money. Not now. So what I'll do is I'll do like a debt ceiling. I'll cap it off at $90. So no matter how many new followers you get, you will owe me $90. To his chagrin, he's like, okay, fine. I can live with that. I said, good. That's what you owe me, $90.
Nice.
Now, if you do certain things, like if you score really well on your IC test, if you focus really hard, I'll cut that debt in half. So then you owe me $45. So I'm not a horrible father.
Right,
I mean,
you're
kind of
good.
a nasty dad, but you know.
Good, Chris.
So
I'm
John's
glad-
like,
I'm glad
let
you
me
did
think
that.
about how to work this with my son.
Well, no, it was really interesting. I was looking at one of your videos or something, or maybe Matthias had just loaded one in and it came up, and I said, Jacob, watch this guy. I said, this kid's 11 years old, and he said, really? And I said, yeah. And at first he was mesmerized. He's like, how does he draw so fast?
He's the Flash. You should have told him he's the Flash.
And I said, well, he draws it slower, but they speed it up because they only got so much time that they want to spend showing it. And he's like, could you do that for me? And I said, you mean draw that fast? Or he goes, no, if I do a drawing, can you speed me up and put it on YouTube? And I'm like, yeah, we'll when I get back, I said, we'll set up something. And I said, I'll put it on my YouTube channel, and we'll see what we can, he was very excited. He wanted to watch all of them. He wanted to watch them again. I would have been up all night. But
is so cool.
It really influenced him, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, we'll see what he comes up with. If he still has, when I get back, I'll go back over them with him, let him watch them again, and say, are you ready? Because he has these colored pencils, and he's taken a light color, and I said, no, Jacob, we need to use black so it'll show up on the camera.
Yeah, you need to see it on camera.
Yeah. And that's where he's kind of, he had like this light green that he actually did a drawing with, sitting at his little table right there. And I said, I can't do anything with that. It's not going to show up.
Yeah. So I'll add one little last embellishment to this story. As you guys know, I love gear. I love kit, tech, all that kind of stuff. And I have, I think, some of the best equipment. So Matthias is always walking around my office like, are you using that? Can I get that camera? I'm like, but you're a little kid. He's like, yeah, but I want my desk set up in my office this way. I'm like, you don't have an office. You have a den where you put your action figures and your little toys. You do not have an office. But I need this. So he's all looking at what I have, and he wants to parallel that into his little area.
Into his office.
Yeah, into his office.
It's so funny.
Little rats. Okay, let's end the show.
Okay.
Thank you, John, for being a special drop-in guest today and for doing that killer illustration.
Thank you.
I'm going to
for
be
having
spending
me.
some time with you on this weekend with my boy, and you get to see that. Okay, so let's get to the end credit here. So let Erica run it all the way to the end, okay? Here we go.